And officially, PSG are through to the Champions League final to verse Arsenal on May 30th. And wow, what an incredible two legs from PSG versus Bayern Munich. Today ended in a 1-1 draw, last minute goal from Harry Kane, and overall 6-5 on aggregate. But wow, what a series, I guess you could call, quote unquote. Both teams, arguably, as people were saying, this was already the Champions League final, the best two teams in Europe, in Bayern Munich and PSG. And today it was shown. Today, questionable calls from the refs, terrible timing for certain things. But overall, PSG are going through the final. I think, obviously, again, like always, well-deserved. A world-class team full of world-class players. We're going to be talking about how some of these players performed today, though. I think a lot of things were very much questionable today. That including a lot of calls that were made, certain performances from certain players I feel did not live up to their current standard. And I've seen already a lot of skepticism on how some people performed, and I think I have very much different views. Maybe we weren't watching the same game or something, but yeah, let's get into it. So overall, to start off the game, PSG came in strutting right through minute 3. Dembele already scoring from a beautiful cross, a low cross in from Kvaratskhelia to set the game 1-0. And off the rip, you would assume, then I remember a lot of us were assuming this was going to be a high scoring game just to start off the game with a minute 3 goal. You'd expect a lot of more goals to come. And the second goal didn't come all the way to the 90+4 from Harry Kane, which also I think was an exceptional goal from Harry Kane's part, but sadly just a little too late for Bayern Munich. Overall, both goalies were exceptional. Neuer, I think, was a better goalkeeper today, but I think it's just because he had to save more shots. Manuel Neuer still showing his quality despite being 40 years old, taking some incredible shots all the way from Doué to Kvaratskhelia to Dembele to Fabian Ruiz. A lot of shots coming at him, but he did his part. I think from the back line of Bayern Munich, I think the center backs did decently well. Kim Min-jae came in after to sub in for Jonathan Tah, but Upamecano today really, in my eyes, showed why he is a world-class defender, why he should be starting for France. I think he showed exceptionally how to defend against fast defenders, even like Kvaratskhelia or Doué or even Dembele. He was showing a lot of aggressiveness to really get to the ball first, and I think he showed levels today. To speak on the fullbacks for Bayern Munich, Stanastic and Laimir, I thought were awful. Laimir I thought was a little better, and what I find, I guess, incredible is the stats that were given to Stanastic. He was given a 7.7. In no way in my eyes do I see this man getting a 7.7. This guy deserved a 6.2. I thought he was awful. I don't think he was doing anything well, to be honest. Yeah, I don't even want to speak on him because he was just pissing me off watching him play. I'm going to be honest. He got subbed off minute 67, but regardless from that, me personally, I thought Laimir did better. And he was rated the highest out of the 4 in the back. I think Upamecano deserved this higher rating for sure, but I guess you could talk about the first goal. That might be a big flaw. With the sub in Kim Min-jae, I think he did his job well too. He was just there. He wasn't there for long, so I can't speak much on that. Pavlovic, I thought, did a decent job, a mid-job. Not too good, not too bad, just decently well. Joshua Kimmich, despite not being the captain, I thought showed a lot of leadership in the midfield, controlling the area both defensively and offensively, pushing the ball up, getting the ball, recovering the ball. I thought he showed a lot of class. It sucks he got a yellow card at the end for a little argument with the referee, and that's to speak on some of the calls that were called today. I thought it was dreadful. I thought it was very much dreadful. I see a lot of bias sometimes going to these games. I don't know if they're pushing a certain agenda. Bayern Munich aren't really... There was a lot of controversy, I guess, from Real Madrid fans and from Real Madrid players when Bayern Munich was versing them. And Harry Kane made a comment. And then obviously you could see Harry Kane in a lot of conversation today with the referee. But I think a lot of calls were very questionable today. I know the handball that was called on João Neves. Well, it wasn't called, but the handball of João Neves. Me personally, I thought it was a penalty too. But after reading some of the rules and everything, it makes sense why it would not be called a penalty. But if we're gonna keep that standard, I don't understand why that same standard was not kept in the first leg with Alphonso Davies' handball. So I think we really have to look at it in that perspective, and it's like, what's going on? What's happening here? You know, I don't think. I don't think it was the same exact treatment. But aside from that, I think the Nuno Mendes handball was a handball. I know it was a little close, but I do still consider that a handball. I don't know if even VAR got to check on that. And as Vincent Kompany said in his interview, I think it was very, very much questionable, a lot of these calls today.
That's what Bayern Munich can do better. But why it's not a red card, I don't understand. Why we concede a penalty in Paris and why we don't receive a penalty here. I understand the rules, so I get it. You know, like it's your own player, kicks it out, but the hand is like flapping sort of somewhere in the air above his head.
Yeah.
Whereas our situation is clearly goes to the body, then goes to the hand, and everybody who's played the game knows that it is something impossible to do anything about. And plus, in other situation, it hadn't been given in other games. Very recent after when we played.
I'm gonna be honest. PSG were also being very aggressive as well as Bayern Munich, but I think Bayern Munich were getting booked for calls that I think PSG should have been called way for more. You know, overall, I believe, how many cards was it? 1, 2, 3. 3 cards were given to PSG and 3 were also given to Bayern Munich. But I think if we look at each of the cards, I think it was very much different. Nuno Mendes picked up a yellow very early on Michael Olise, and then Kvaratskhelia and Marquinhos. And these were questionable calls, but like the one on Luis Diaz where Luis Diaz got a yellow, I know it was for protesting to the ref, but like in those instances, I think it's where it showed a certain amount of bias because these PSG players were being real aggressive with these tackles, with this physicality, and I understand that's part of the game. But to certain extents, it's like if you're gonna count that for one team, you should count it for the other. You feel me? Now, Olise, to speak on Olise, I thought it, I don't know why. Okay, see, look, they dropped down his rating because it was a 7.0 before. It's a 6.9 now. But I don't understand why he has a higher rating than Luis Diaz. Now, I know people are saying that he wasn't at the standard that he usually is, and I know that. But Luis Diaz put in 2 beautiful, beautiful opportunities to tie and to win this game for Bayern Munich. Yet no one was there to convert it. Not Harry Kane, not Jamal Musiala, and not Michael Olise or Kimmich or Pavlovic or anyone that was in that area. So I don't want to hear no nonsense talking about Luis Diaz had a bad game because I don't think he had a bad game at all. I think, if anything, he was one of the best players on Bayern Munich, probably top 3 Bayern Munich player today. I don't like this disrespect. I think Michael Olise had one of his worst performances of this year. It looked like he was playing for PSG. This guy was losing the ball, and I know he's an outstanding dribbler. So I'm not going to say that he can't dribble or nothing. But in certain instances, it's like, damn, bro, you're not Messi either. Like, you got to cool it. I didn't understand certain things he did today. Michael Olise was by far one of his worst performances I've seen. Maybe Nuno Mendes, being a world-class defender, had to do with that. Or maybe it was just his head. Or maybe, I don't know what he was doing, to be honest. But I did not find this to be a good game from him at all whatsoever. Now, Jamal Musiala sucks to not have had the opportunities he wanted to. I think he had an effort in a way, but Michael Olise showed no effort whatsoever, and I think Luis Diaz showed way more effort than Michael Olise on those 4 fronts. So to speak on that, I think Luis Diaz was one of the better attacking players. I'm going to give it to Harry Kane, obviously, because he did score the goal in the last minute. But aside from that, it's not like he was converting much either. Willy Pacho and Marquinhos, prop to them. They defended him very, very much well. Can't even speak on that. Willy Pacho showed his levels. He won man of the match, and I think he did show levels against Harry Kane, a world-class striker. You know, now to speak on PSG players, Safonov, props to him, always a good goalkeeper. It's great to see that he was a second choice goalie, and now he's going to be starting in a Champions League final. He's going to be starting in a Champions League final. Zaire Emery, I don't know why people are calling him like he did very good, because he didn't. I don't understand. He didn't pass no Luis Diaz test, bro. Luis Diaz was frying this guy. This guy was on skates, fam. So I don't understand where this narrative came that Zaire Emery had a good game. Sadly, they didn't have Hakimi there. I don't know how it would have been with Hakimi and Luis Diaz, but aside from that, yeah, I don't see it. Marquinhos, solid as always. Nuno Mendes, solid. Vitinha and Joao Neves, I didn't see much creativeness from them. Not the world-class players we know them to be. Especially Vitinha, I expected a lot more from him today. But that's what it is. Fabian Ruiz, I think the same thing again. All mediocre today. Dembele, obviously he scored the first goal, so can't speak much on that. But aside from that, I don't think he added much attack much threat today, to be honest. I think the real threats from PSG were Doué and Kvaratskhelia to be particular, with the beautiful low cross he had in for Dembele, and he was just offering so much poise to score today. As one of the best players in the world, if not the best left winger in the world right now, Kvaratskhelia showed levels. So props to him. And Doué, always a threat. Some good shots. So shout out to them. Barcola, Beraldo, all these guys came in after. It was calm. I can't speak much on that. They weren't terrible. They weren't bad. They were just decent. Alphonso Davies, I think, did show much difference when he got subbed in for Stanasic. I think he should have been starting over him a billion times. I think Davies offers a lot of more presence, especially in the attacking sense, which they wanted goals today. And I think to start off the game, once they were already down, I think you need to look at that and be like, wow, we do need to sub in more of an attacking player. And I think Davies offered that very much well once he got subbed in. I think it sucks that he got subbed in as late as he did, as it was, minute 67. So, yeah, but I think overall, a very, very entertaining semi-final, first and second leg from PSG and Bayern Munich. PSG are now set to go on to the final versus Arsenal, which is a rematch of last year's semi-final. I don't know why I'm hearing already murmurs that PSG are going to do them worse than they did Inter in the final. Are we forgetting that Arsenal and PSG weren't that far off in last year's semi-final? I don't know why this narrative is going around right now. I don't know. Arsenal may not seem the strongest, but I think it shows in itself that they are in the final now. You can't chat to them. You just can't. Like, it shows levels. You feel me? Now, yeah, I think that showed in itself. I think there's gonna be an outstanding final on May 30th to come to see. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Jesus Christ loves you guys.